what's up, YouTube? This is your host with the most, King Gio in the house, as you can see. Well, today I want to talk to you about something about Puerto Rico. But before I get into that, don't forget that on this November the 13th, 2020, I'm giving away the Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. So you got to make sure that you subscribe to my channel. In order for you to enter, you have to subscribe to my channel. And you have to say, hey, King Gio, I subscribe. And I'm going to look at the subscription, make sure that you have subscribed. Just don't say I've subscribed and think that I am not going to look. All right, so as you know, the elections have come and gone, as here as it is in Puerto Rico, but I want to talk more about Puerto Rico, right? The reason I want to talk more about Puerto Rico is because the people of Puerto Rico will never learn. The people of Puerto Rico, they are my people, but they will never learn. They think that because you got this Pierluisi now, or they think because they have the PNP, which is Partido Nuevo Progresista, this PNP, that's what are the Democrats here in the United States. They think that they will become states. So you promise them statehood, right? But they're not going to get statehood. Okay. There's a lot of reasons why the United States will never allow Puerto Rico to become a state. Okay. So here we are. We have Puerto Rico of roughly a population of 3.2 million, right? Because a lot of people left. Before it was 3.5. I remember one time it was 3.9, close to 4 million people living in the island of Puerto Rico. So as the years has passed by, it has dwindled down. And all that went dwindling down is because job opportunities, the cost of living in Puerto Rico is high, the cost of electricity is high, the cost of water is high. So people can't afford. There are people who work out there for $7.25 an hour. They still work on minimum wage. And Puerto Rico is a beautiful island. I'm not saying it because it's my island, but it's a beautiful island. It's an island that has features that you will never see nowhere else. It's just great. We have great food. We have great people. Unfortunately, crime doesn't help. Corruption of the government doesn't help. But it has an ambiance. Never before. I know Puerto Rico, when it's between December and February, you get that cold, wintry wind. Yes, there is a cold, wintry wind in Puerto Rico. And the breeze goes down to 60 degrees, but it's that nice breeze, not that quivering breeze. But it's good. It's really good. And so here we have 50% of, supposedly, of the voters in Puerto Rico voted for statehood, right? So Pierluisi goes based on, I'm going to get you statehood. Rosselló said, I'm going to get you statehood. Every PNP in Puerto Rico has promised statehood, and it's never come. Every president, from Clinton to Trump, said, I'll get you Puerto Rico. That's what you want. I want to get it. And that's never have come. Okay. So in Puerto Rico, you have a lot of politics and religion. They go hand in hand. And it's kind of bad when you mix politics with religion and religion gets into the politics. This year, something astonishing happened. There were two more groups that were probably two groups in Puerto Rico who got a lot of votes, which was Ciudadanía Victoria and the PIC, which is the Partido Independentista. Dalmau got a lot of votes this year. He got more votes this year than he did last year. And that's a smart man. And people don't vote on him because he's from an independent party. And they figured if he's going to be independent, he wants independence for Puerto Rico, then Puerto Rico is going to become independent. See, that's not the way it is. That's like the Republicans saying that, that Joe Biden is a socialist, that Joe Biden is this, that the reason that we didn't get too much Democrat, that the reason that we lost Democratic seat is because of our socialist thoughts or our socialist thinking. That may have been for some people. When the Democrats started saying defund the police, that didn't go well with a lot of people. But a lot of people misinterpret when it said defund the police. Everybody thought, we're just gonna take the police out and just have citizens do police work, and that's not what defunding the police meant, and it's still not what defunding the police means. But that's another video. So we lost a lot of votes. So in Puerto Rico, it's basically the same thing. The Democrats in Puerto Rico think that by voting yes, by having a member in Congress that has no voice, she has no votes. Jennifer Gonzalez cannot say anything. She got no say. All she does is sit there because the law says that we have to have a a representative at least representing us in Puerto Rico, but has no vote in what it says what happens in the Congress. Has no vote in to say just to whatever. She can draft motions, or she can make a draft and let the other senators see it. And they like it. Okay, you know what? Let's put this on the floor. But she cannot say anything. She cannot vote. She can't talk. She can't do nothing. But she gets paid. She gets paid over $100,000 a year for that. So you have her there. You have Pierluisi now saying is going to get the Puerto Rican vote. But the actuality is that, there's nothing Pierluisi can't do. There's nothing Pierluisi can do to get Puerto Rico to become a state. Let me tell you something, guys. In order for if Puerto Rico became a state, that would mean that Puerto Rico, by law, will have 5 members. 5 members in Washington, D.C. That means that, from what I read, 5 states would have to give up 1 seat. I think that's Florida, Texas, California, Nevada. I'm not sure, but I know Florida, Texas, California. I know Texas and Florida would have to give up 1 seat. Who's going to give up 1 seat in the Senate? Not no Democrats. Not going to do it. Our Republicans not going to do it. Maybe they might say, okay, fine, we'll give up 1 seat here, and the Republicans give up 1 seat there, but we're getting 5 because Puerto Rico is basically most Democrats. So we're going to be gaining more. And if that's the thinking, the Republicans are going to say, wait, we're not going to give Puerto Rico if they're going to outnumbers us and they're going to have more voice than we do. We're not going to do that. No way in the world are we going to do that. So neither the Democrats or the Republicans are not going to let go of 5 seats. I'm sorry, they're not going to do that. That's number 1. Number 2, if Puerto Rico was to become a state, by federal law, because Puerto Rico will become the poorest state of the nation, will become lower than Mississippi. Mississippi now is the poorest. Puerto Rico will become more poor than Mississippi. People per capita. So that means that the United States would have to fund Puerto Rico 3 times more federal aid. 3 times more. Don't think that Puerto Rico don't give to the federal programs, because Puerto Rico do give to federal programs. Okay, we might not get taxed in federal taxes, but we do give into the federal program. That we do. We get the FEMA, etc. So don't think that we don't. I think we give over $3 or $4 billion a year to the United States. So that's number 2. So the United States will have to give triple the amount of federal aid in order for Puerto Rico to be that part. Because Puerto Rico right now in food stamp, they don't go with SNAP. Their food stamp is by grant the United States gives them. It's not like every other state. The states are in the SNAP program, and they get allocated money every year. Puerto Rico does not do that. What's the next one? The next one, the 3rd. We're an island where we speak Spanish, even though there is no one can say, well, you know what? Then Puerto Rico should become then English should become the official language of Puerto Rico. Then if they become a state, no, because the United States don't even have an official language. We don't have an official language here in the United States. There is none. So to say we make you a state, that means that Puerto Rico has to have English as an official language. The United States don't have English as an official language. But being that our tongue is Spanish, our culture is Spanish, that's going to be hard. So you got triple the amount of money in food stamp, 5 extra seats 5 seats in the Senate or in the House or whatever, and then you have Spanish people speaking Spanish. They're going to run some of the Senate, and most of the choices that they make, they're going to make the majority of it because they are the majorities. And they're not going to give up that privilege. Now you have, it's like now you have a president that refuses to concede, that refuses to say you won. He's being a child. I understand losing hurts, but come on, there comes a time when you say, you know what, I lost. It's time to move on. It would have been better if Trump would have just exit out graciously, and you can come back in 2024. You probably get more fan base that way, but not like this. So, I do another video on people and show you, why it's so funny, why him and Republicans think that this is all rigged. But anyway, so that's the way it is. Now, right now, you had a great candidate in San Juan, and Rafael Manuel Natal, that he was up with the votes, and then all of a sudden the PNP decided to do a small little recount or whatever the case may be, and now all of a sudden the PNP is up while this guy was up. Yes, it happened the same thing. It happened the same thing in the States, but Puerto Rico is known to be corrupt, especially that party, or both parties, which is PNP or Popular. So I can see manipulation in that aspect of the mayor of San Juan to get votes, not the mayor, to get the votes for the mayor of San Juan, because that's who they're going up. So if you look at Manuel Natal's track record, guys, if you wanted ever a senator, this would be the guy for you. This is the guy that will fight for you for tooth and nail. He's great. His girlfriend Lugaro is great. The good thing about it that his party, for being the first party ever, for the first time, a party that just started, they got 5 new members in Congress. A new party, guys. That's good. 5 new members. So that means they don't vote left. They don't vote right. They're right here. So that's good that you got 5 new members in the Senate or in the House that has nothing to do with the major parties. All right, the 2 major parties, or even the PIP. They have nothing to do with those 2, with those 3. But these 2 are the most. PNP and Popular are the ones that are in the mainland. So check this out. So here Pierluisi comes. He doesn't do anything in 4 years. What's going to happen? The people of Puerto Rico will vote for the red one, which is Popular. And year in and year out, this is the way it happens. Okay? None of these 2 idiots, none of these 2 parties will get down to the nitty-gritty of what's Puerto Rico's problem. It's corruption. And I guarantee you that if Alessandra Lugaro would have won the governmentship, she would have opened up what we need to be open, and that's the little black book. We need to audit Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico needs to be audited so we can find out where all those billions that money that we owe comes out, and who took that money. Where did our sales tax go to back from 2004 when they implemented a 7% sales tax? Where did that money go to when 2012 when the governor that was elected, Alejandro Garcia Padilla, they said, "Yo, where's the money at? Where is the sales tax money? I don't see in the books. I don't see no sales tax money." And what happened? Boom, he had to raise it to 11.5. The sales tax. Where is that money? No one knows, because either party refuses to audit the books, because they both know that in both parties they have corruption. They don't want to blow up their friends. The one party that say, "I don't know how many people are in that book, but I don't want my party to look bad." Or, "I don't know how many people in my book. I don't want my party to look bad." And that's what you do. You should let the chips fall where they may, because those people that did the corruption, those people that stole the money of Puerto Rico, those people need to go to jail. Puerto Rico is so corrupt, it's not even funny. I mean, you get people get contracts. Governors give out contracts to family members. Mayors give out contracts to family members, or friends of a friend. So instead of having them bid for a project, no, they give it to, or let me give it to my boy down there. He needs that job, so let me give him a $10 million contract when he only has 2 diggers and maybe 5 employees. Okay, that's the way it is in Puerto Rico. Donald Trump was good in that play. He did say that, but we all knew that. We didn't need to be throwing it in our face, but we all knew that. So, in those aspects, that's why Puerto Rico will not become a state. I'm going to tell you something. Puerto Rico needs to be autonomous. They got to learn how to live without the United States. Not be independent, but they got to learn how to be autonomous. They have to learn that the United States cannot take over. They cannot be backing them up all the time. We can't do trades outside, because if we do trades outside, the merchant trade, the Jones Act kills us. The Jones Act kills us, because we can't do business with other countries. But to an extent, it'd be good, because even if we took off, let's say we took off the Jones Act, and that brought in more money, let me see, more money for the pockets of the senators, of the governors of Puerto Rico, the senators of Puerto Rico, the mayors of Puerto Rico. Okay? That's why Puerto Rico does not audit itself. You think Pierluisi is going to audit? You think Puerto Rico is going to audit Puerto Rico? You think he's going to say, you know what? I'm going to open up the books. I want to see who's doing what. No, they're not going to do it. They're not. They got a Secretary of Education, Julian Keller. She was there for 3 years, and she just got arrested like 8-9 months ago. Secretary of School, bro. The head of the Department of Education. And that's a green guy. So if she's taking from them, could you imagine what the locals are doing? Could you imagine? So and then here comes Puerto Rico, and they vote for Pierluisi, who Pierluisi is the lawyer for the board of Puerto Rico, you know, the oversight board. These are the ones that decide you can't spend this on this, you can't spend this on that. And Pierluisi is the one who defends them. Conflict of interest, of course. But yet, the people of Puerto Rico, they're so fanatic. They're so fanatic. They don't want to say, you know what, let's vote for something else. Let's vote for Alejandra Lugaro. Let's give Alejandra Lugaro a chance. Or let's give Dalmau a chance. Let's give these two people that are not nothing to do with these two idiots or these two parties. Let's give them a chance. Let's see what they can do. We can't do any worse. Shit, you already have $100 and some billion in debt. How much worse can you get? You can't. Either both parties, the crime in Puerto Rico has gone up. We've lost thousands and thousands of cops. You know, New York City had the largest cop force in the nation with 30,000 or more police officers. Puerto Rico at one time, I don't shit you not, for a small island, had 17,000 police officers. 17,000. Now I think it's 11,000. So 6,000 over the years of 12, over the course of 2012, and 2020. The police force has shrunk. 6,000. Shrunk. Their benefits gone out the window. Their retirement almost out the window because the government wanted to take away. The government took away from the retirement fund. From their own retirement fund, the government took away because they couldn't pay some debt. So they clawed it. They clawed it. They clawed. That's what it's called, clawed. Not only from their funds, the teachers' fund. So if you work and you have money in your fund, it's lost. It's lost. And it's kind of a shame that an island is so beautiful that we scream democracy, because when we took out Fortunio, when we took Rosselló out, that should have been the voice of the government, that things need to change. But when you're voting for these wannabe Democrats, wannabe Republicans, one is Pierluisi's, which is PNP. When you're voting for Charlie Delgado, which is Popular, they are no good. None of them are good. They're none. They're none. The only thing I can say about Charlie Delgado is that he got his town is in a surplus. But a surplus is doing nothing, because if you go to his town, it's still a shitty town. He hasn't done anything for the town, but he has a surplus, but it ain't for the town, because his town is shitty. So what's the point of having a surplus? So why did the people of Puerto Rico vote for these two? Why are you so much of a masochist that you enjoy being the laughing stock of the nation? Or we can't deal with Puerto Rico because you're so corrupt? Forget what Trump said. I'm Puerto Rican, and I know that my government, that my island, the people there, the politicians are corrupt. Not all, but most are corrupt. For a country, for an island, to say, you know what? I want to open this little black book, and this little black book's going to tell me who has stolen from us. And whomever it is, let the chips may fall. You're going to get arrested. But maybe this person say, maybe my name's in it. I don't know. Fuck it. If it is in it, then you shouldn't have been shady. But that black book needs to open. Someone needs to audit Puerto Rico. I don't know whether the federal government has done it. But it needs to be audited. We need to find out where this money has gone to, where this money was stolen from, so we can get to the bottom of this, and we can start taking out the bad roots, the bad seeds, and say, you know what, this is how much you're going to get in jail, this is how much you're going to get this, you're going to give me jail. But let me tell you something, it's different for a drug dealer to say, I want to give you 20 years. Like, all right, give me 20 years. It's different from that. Then you give a politician, I'm going to give you 20 years. Oh, that should hurt. That should hurt. Drug dealer? That ain't nothing, bro. At least that's what he says or she says, right? But a politician, ooh, that hurts. But yet they continue doing it because the law of Puerto Rico, they protect one another. So that's the reason why Puerto Rico is not going to be a state. Puerto Rico is not going to become a state just because. So I don't care what parades down the street. I don't care what anyone parades you down the street. They're not going to give Puerto Rico statehood. Puerto Rico has over 1 million people all on welfare. All on welfare. The Republicans are not going to. You know what they're going to say? That's half of your. That's half of your city. That's half the population. Close to half of your population is subsidized. Is being subsidized by our government, by the food stamps. How are we supposed to support that? And then if they become state, then we're gonna have to give them more money. So and then those people who are getting that money, they're never gonna work because they don't have to work. That's the way they see it. That's the way I see it. So why vote for a person when you know that it's gonna happen with that statehood? Or at least I know it's not gonna happen. I guarantee you it's not going to happen. He can talk all he wants. It's nothing's going to happen. The law is gonna stay the same. Puerto Rico's crime is still going to go up. All right? There's still going to be domestic violence in women. There's still going to be domestic violence in transgender, which is something that I am so super pissed off because there have been five or six killings so far on transgender women in Puerto Rico, and none has gotten caught. No one has gotten caught. So, dude, committing a murder in Puerto Rico is the best place to commit murder if you want to kill somebody because you won't get caught. Shit, Macho got killed like, what, 20 years ago? His killer still didn't get caught. In an island of 3.2 people. No one gets caught if you do something. You gotta be real stupid to get caught in Puerto Rico for something like that. You know, so those are the main reason why Puerto Rico is not going to become a state. Puerto Rico should be concentrating in the things they can do. They should solarize Puerto Rico. Every house should be solar efficient. We should get our water from the sea, so we don't have to worry about droughts. You know, there should be homelessness in Puerto Rico. I believe all those houses that are abandoned, they should be fixed up and given to the people for a cheap price, and let them weed it out, let them clean it. You know, and if whatever it is, but there shouldn't be poverty in Puerto Rico. There should be poverty in no parts of the world. There shouldn't. Because we have an abundant amount of food and we have an abundant amount of people who can work, but for some reason can't work. Those are the people that the government should help. And the people, those who can work, they should be put to work, or they should be forced to work. Forced.